Hello, everyone. I am Allison Edwards, and I am here to read my new book, How to Crack Your Peanut. I wrote this book to help kids understand that their brains act different ways when it comes to stress and feelings. And today, hopefully, you will understand how your brain works a little bit more and know what to do whenever you feel big emotions. How to Crack Your Peanut, solving the mystery of why you sometimes lose your mind. Do you ever say or do things you later regret? Are there times when you feel overwhelmed and out of control? Do you sometimes completely lose your cool? I used to feel like that. This is Diego. A lot. I would get scared or mad or sad, and it was like my whole body went bananas. I would yell and scream and do things I felt bad about later. One day at school, I was in the middle of a test when I realized I didn't know any of the answers. I felt all panicky inside, and I couldn't think straight. My hands and face began to sweat. I couldn't even hold my pencil because my hands were so slippery. Mrs. Jones noticed and asked me if I wanted to go up in the hall for a few minutes to calm down. You can see Diego's head is sweating. Everyone in the class is looking at him saying, "What is wrong with Diego?" My friends all stared at me, and that only made me feel worse. When I finally calmed down in the hall, I felt embarrassed. Why did I get so nervous? A few days later, my little brother went into my room and broke my favorite model airplane, the one I'd spent weeks building. I was so angry at him. I slammed the door in his face and I told him I never wanted to see him again. Diego, my mom said, "Please open your door right now." Uh-oh. My mom made me apologize to my brother and I got grounded. But it wasn't until the next morning that I actually felt bad for what I had done and said. Why did I lose control with my brother? He didn't do that to me. I started to feel like a bad brother. Do you see Diego has his head down? He feels like he's a bad brother. His brother doesn't do that to him. The very next day after my soccer team lost the game, I got upset with one of my teammates and screamed, "How did you miss that shot?" I stormed off the field and didn't even high-five the other team's players after the game. Diego, my dad looked frustrated. Diego, my coach looked disappointed. But I didn't care. I was so mad. We shouldn't have lost that game. My coach made me sit out the next game, and my dad made me apologize to my coach and teammates, and especially Ben, who I yelled at for missing that shot. Why did I lose my temper over little things? I wondered as I sat on the bench. That afternoon, my parents asked me to come into the kitchen. "Diego," my dad said, "we can tell you felt a little out of control lately. We'd like you to talk to someone who can help you learn how to respond calmly in different situations," Mom said. Diego looks a little worried. "Why?" I demanded to know. "Am I a bad kid?" I was worried and I was scared. "You absolutely aren't a bad kid," Dad said. "In fact, you are a great kid. You just need some tools to help you feel more in control of what you say and how you act," Mom said. I wasn't so sure. The next day, my mom took me to a building downtown with lots of different doors down a hallway. We walked into the one that said Dr. Butler on the glass door. "Hi, Diego, I'm Dr. Butler, but you can call me Dr. B." I liked all the cool things he had in his office. "Can you tell me how you've been feeling lately?" Diego's looking around. He sees the sand and the chair and the paintings. "I don't know. I feel like I'm a bad kid," I said. "It's like I have lost control and my mind just goes haywire. Then I do and say bad things." Dr. B listened and nodded as I explained. "Diego, you aren't a bad kid. You are a normal kid, and I think I can help you with teaching you a little bit about your brain. Would you be up for that?" Diego says, "I guess so." Diego, did you know that there is a peanut in the back of your brain? What? Diego said. It's not the kind of peanut you eat, but it's the kind of peanut that makes you act in all sorts of wacky ways. Dr. B grabbed a chart and flipped it to a picture of a brain. There it is. This is amygdala, prefrontal cortex, hippocampus, and there's something that looks like a peanut. See, it's right there, Dr. B pointed. Sometimes that peanut is sound asleep, and other times it will wake up and yell, help, help, I need help. Usually this occurs when something bad happens, when you get scared or when you're angry or frustrated. I looked at that tiny little peanut. Pretty powerful. When your peanut yells help, your brain does this really cool thing. What does it do? I asked. It sends an army to the rescue. I call this the Red Army because it's your blood. The Red Army keeps post at the top of your brain and helps you stay calm, cool, and collected. But when the Red Army hears your peanut calling for help, the sergeant blows a trumpet and yells, on our way. Then the entire Red Army jumps on their horses and leaves their post to send blood to the rest of your body. That is cool, I said. Look at the Red Army. They're saying, on our way, we're coming to help. It is. And the good news is your peanut gets the help it needs. The bad news is when the Red Army leaves their post, all the blood from the top of your brain rushes to the rest of your body and your brain goes bonkers. Without the Red Army at their post, your brain goes into the flood zone. The flood zone, I asked? Yep, it's when your mind gets flooded with anger, frustration, fear, jealousy, and confusion, and you say wild things and you can't think straight. I feel that way all the time, I said to Dr. B. And that's completely normal. But here's a little secret, Diego. You can give the Red Army marching orders to get back to their post. Really, I asked. You sure can. I am going to teach you how to be the captain of your own Red Army. What do you think of that? Dr. B asked. That sounds awesome, Diego said. Over the next few weeks, I visited Dr. B each week, and he taught me all kinds of cool tricks to control the Red Army in my brain. He said by ordering the Red Army back to their post, this would send all the blood back to where it is supposed to be. It would help me control my feelings and actions. It's a great idea, isn't it? Breathe, relax, imagine. First, Dr. B taught me to breathe. I told him I breathe all the time, but he said this was a different kind of breathing. He taught me to take a slow, deep breath in through my nose. Hold it for a few seconds and then let it come out my mouth. Dr. B said this tells the Red Army to get back to their post. Then all of the blood goes back to your brain. If I could breathe for just 5 minutes and I could think clearly about the situation, I couldn't believe breathing could do all that. I practiced my breathing a lot. I even taught my little brother. It's a very nice thing to do. The next week, Dr. B taught me to relax. He said to imagine myself as raw spaghetti, stiff and tense. And then he said, imagine myself as cooked spaghetti, loose and relaxed. We practiced pretending to be raw spaghetti and then cooked spaghetti. I stood straight and stiff. And then when Dr. B would say, now relax, I would act like limp spaghetti. It was fun, and I really did feel less stressed when I wiggled and jiggled around like spaghetti. Plus, all of that wiggling got my body moving and the blood heading right back to the top of my brain. Finally, Dr. B taught me to imagine. He said to pretend I was in a special place like the beach or mountains or my house, a place where I felt safe and could get my mind off of a stressful situation. I imagined sitting in a beanbag chair in my treehouse. I could listen to music or read comic books, and I didn't have to worry about doing something wrong. This was my favorite of all the tools. I love my treehouse. Over the next few weeks, I put these tools to use. Anytime I felt angry or stressed, I would stop and say, Red Army, get back to your post. I would breathe for 5 minutes and then relax and wiggle my body like cooked spaghetti. And imagine I was in my safe place, a treehouse. It worked nearly every time. There were still times when I struggled, but I would stop myself, apologize, and begin to use my tools. My parents, teachers, and friends began to notice that I had more control over my words and actions. And that made me feel so good. Look at Diego. He's sending the Red Army back to his post, breathing, cooked spaghetti, relaxing in a safe place. After learning these tricks, I didn't feel like a bad kid anymore. I learned that I have more control over my brain than I thought I did, and you do too. We are the captains of our own Red Army, and anytime they leave their post, we can get them back to where they are supposed to be without doing or saying things that hurt or make us feel bad later. By learning how to manage ourselves when we get flooded, you and I can keep our little peanuts calm, cool, and collected. Thank you so much for being here today and hearing this book, How to Crack Your Peanut. I am Allison Edwards, and I'm the author of this book. And the reason that I wrote it is so that you will feel better about yourself and know how your brain works and choose strategies that will work. Until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.